Today we have 16 local Yarra Ranges businesses attending, along with colleagues Sue-Jane Downey, Kate Harris and Danielle Watts from Yarra Ranges Council. We'd like to thank you for taking time out to work on your business. And this morning we'll be recording the session and it will be available for viewing again later. So let's start the conversation by hearing from Kate Harris, Business and Investment Officer at Yarra Ranges Council. Thanks, Kate.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ICN seminar this morning. And I'm sure you're going to gain some great insights and be able to expand your networks. At Yarra Ranges Council, the Economic Development and Investment team offer a number of services to the business community. These include information and communications by way of the Yarra Ranges website business section. We also have a weekly at the moment e-bulletin that provides insight and updates to support business, and we have our Yarra Ranges Facebook page. From a business development perspective, we offer a small business office with a better approvals process, so assisting businesses to expand and grow. We have a priority investment project for large investments within the region, and we work closely with other areas across the council to ensure that place and structure plans all work well. We provide research and data into other projects across the organisation and support business in that space. And I do apologise, Helen Ruddle, our manager who was meant to be giving this presentation this morning, is unavailable as she's currently working on an advocacy piece that supports business, which is another key function that the economic development team do in support of business. So in Yarra Ranges, we have 13,600 businesses supporting 41,700 jobs. Of those businesses, 98% are small businesses and 59% are non-employing. So very large small business community. Our key sectors are manufacturing, agriculture, retail, small and home-based businesses, tourism, health care and social assistance. The economic development team is here to support you as a business. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to call through to the small business office. All the information is on yarraranges.vic.gov.au/business. I'd now like to hand over to Danielle Watts, who is our Executive Officer for Strategic Procurement. And she's going to tell you a little bit about tenders and processes at Yarra Ranges Council. Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks, Kate and Donna, and welcome everybody. As Kate mentioned, I oversee the procurement function here at Yarra Ranges. So I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of what we're focusing on in our procurement processes currently and the opportunity this can afford local businesses. As you may know, councils currently, we have a legislative requirement to tender any works, goods or service contracts with a value greater than $150,000 for goods and services or $200,000 for works. Last year, we spent over $116 million via tendered contracts. These tendered contracts are advertised in The Age and on our website, but they're also advertised on the ICN website. One of our newer focuses this year, and probably as a direct result in our objective to help the community in the recovery period during and post-COVID, is to encourage the engagement with small to medium enterprises, both local to Yarra Ranges and across the broader local area. To achieve this, we've updated our procurement policy with the requirement that officers seeking quotations must seek at least one quote from local businesses where possible. Last year, we spent over $17 million via quotation processes. So these opportunities are definitely available for our local businesses. We're also looking at ways of reporting our total local expenditure to council to ensure we're accountable to our community, as well as encouraging collaboration via our tender processes for the bigger contractors to engage with the local businesses for the larger projects. So it's great if you can use the ICN to network with larger suppliers and find innovative ways to collaborate. With the new focus on smaller local businesses, the advantage that SMEs have is the ties to the local community and business. These larger businesses are definitely looking at ways to leverage upon these relationships that you as SMEs will already have. So basically that's what Yarra Ranges, and I know a lot of other local governments are looking for in the future. If you can work with the ICN, contact your local council's economic development teams, seek out any other networks. There's definitely opportunities for the SMEs out there, and council are very keen to make the most so that we can so that we can provide the most benefit to our communities. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, just post them at the end and we'll come back to you. And I'll hand over to Andy Balmain from ICN. Thank you.
Here we go. Sorry about that. Mute controls. I'm so used to dogs interrupting my presentations of late and kids running around in mad panic in their homeschooling. But certainly, look, welcome to everybody coming on board today for our session, and certainly a big thank you to Yarra Rangers, and particularly the team of Sue Jane, Donna, Kate and Danielle in working with us in regards to putting this together. And also we certainly look forward to working forward with Yarra Rangers in regards to these workshops, and particularly the two further workshops regarding people wanting to put together a gateway profile and an advanced gateway workshop to go forward as well too. But once again, thanks very much to Yarra Rangers and welcome aboard to everybody. Yes, my name is Andy Balmain. I'm the Business Manager, Client Services and Business Development Manager for ICN. Been with the organisation for a number of years now, but it's great to have everybody on board. I'll just see if I can. So the agenda for today is we're going to cover off on a couple of areas, or a number of areas. One is certainly talking about ICN and some I guess some interesting facts about ICN that people may not be aware of. For those, I know there's about 3 or 4 of the attendees today that are on ICN Gateway, but for those that aren't, we'll talk a bit more about that, but also some news for those that are. We'll also talk about the ICN Gateway, which is our major functional portal for both posting opportunities, but also posting the suppliers that are on our database for those out there that would like to take advantage of more local procurement in their own procurement. And then we'll talk about social procurement. We'll also talk about the local content capability program. So I've got Tiana Gibson will talk about the ICN Gateway, and Jadara Jones will talk about the local content capability program and social procurement. And then we'll hand it back to Tiana to talk about networking and a little bit of an action plan going forward. And then we'll run a Q&A session. So if you could hold off your questions or at least post them via the chat through, and then we can raise the questions that have been raised at the end and cover off wherever we can as well too. We'll also have Lynn Johnson joining us in the Q&A session to help on some of the queries on social and also the local content capability program as well too. So that's where we're going at the moment. So just a little bit about the ICN. So we have been around since 1984. It's always an important thing to talk about the fact that we've been around and we've stayed viable and beneficial for those industries out there that are seeking help, particularly on 2 opportunities on the major projects and also government procurement. It's also important to know what makes up ICN. The ICN itself here in Victoria is a not-for-profit organisation, and we have a number of sections within the ICN group, which is important to understand to try and take advantage of should you wish to engage with us going forward. So I'll just talk briefly about that. One is the client services team, which is the team I manage, and which is Tiana as part of that as well too. So that's your normal day-to-day regarding Gateway. We've got the industry engagement team, which I'll talk about more in a further slide, but that's a very important group of people and industry advisors that you need to engage with as well too. The policy team that does the work with regard to the work we do with the state government on the Local Jobs First Act, which we'll cover off in a second. And then the process and systems team is the one which includes Lynn's team and it includes Jadara on social and also the local content side as well too. And that includes the social procurement element, which is a relatively new area of business for ICN, but it is part of what we're doing as part of the focus on local jobs first to help engage all areas of procurement, including social procurement onto projects, particularly major projects. And then we've got a discussion regarding the benchmarking, which Jadar will talk about today as well too, but that also forms a very important part of determining local content for projects where the government would like to mandate settings in regards to local content settings for projects. We have the marketing communications team, which is vitally important, and that's where typically you'd be involved in regards to potential things like case studies, news stories, information, LinkedIn and the like as well too. And then we have our admin. So just one of the key areas of ICN is going back to, just trying to go back a couple of steps. Okay, our main role, our main functional role as far as the organisation is concerned is to really connect buyer with supply, and the supply comes out of local, and that's an important understanding to talk about as well, which I'll talk about on the next slide, but also for those suppliers seeking buyers. So typically if you're trying to seek someone to talk to, that is our main functional role. I guess we're fundamentally known as a networking or a matchmaking service for industry, and that's fundamentally what we do, but it's something you should be taking full advantage of wherever possible, and we're there to be that service to industry, and particularly to SMEs out there, including those in the region. I think the other elements we need to talk about too is it's all about making sure that SMEs are not overlooked as well too, and that's a really important element of what we all do to try and support wherever possible SMEs into particularly government contracts, and that is a major function of the work we do. But sometimes people do often feel that they need that little bit of a leg up or a help, and we're there to try and create that assistance as well too. So defining local. Now we talk about local being, for government terms, it's talking about sourcing out of Australia and New Zealand. Now, most logically for projects, particularly projects in regions, it also commercially sensibly talks about sourcing close to the projects themselves as well too. So the overarching is the Australia and New Zealand element. However, the logical commercial reality is sourcing close to projects is the most common theme and a vitally important theme for us to be involved in, and certainly that's what we try and encourage on projects that we do every day of our day-to-day workspace. I think the other thing to remember too is that we are part of a network Australia-wide, so if you are looking at opportunities interstate, we do have interstate offices should you wish to make contact, so please be in contact with us to try and help you give you those introductions as well too. So I go back to our sourcing or our origins of 1984, which began between a collaboration between the union movement and government. I know that you might find that hard to believe, but that's where we did start in our origins, and it actually transfers to where we are at this very point in time in our cross-representation in our board itself, which represents the ICN Victoria. So made up of AI Group, Engineers Australia, Sustainability Victoria, the Chamber, Trades Hall, AMWU, ICN Victoria representation, and in board meetings a government observer as well too. So you know, we really represent our support for everybody. We love everybody. That's our requirement. We're there to help everybody. All you need is an ABN number or a New Zealand business number, and we are there to assist. But it is important to know that that's where our origins began and continues to this day as well. So how are we funded? So in Victoria, we're majority funded by the state government here through Department of Jobs, Precincts and Regions, and we have additional funding through some commercial services. And typically those commercial services are things like, such as for projects, for supply chain mapping exercises we do for governments and for buyers, and also for things like running industry and project events as well too. So that's where our funding comes from. As far as the network's concerned, the ICN office in Canberra is majority funded by the federal government. They also do get additional funding from each of the ICN state offices, as well as some commercial services. And it's also important to know that the ICN Gateway portal, which Tiana will talk about in more detail, is majority funded by the federal government, with some additional funding to support that through some Gateway subscription levels of subscription that are available to suppliers as well, including a free subscription. The other element is understanding that the ICN in Victoria. We are all of 38 people in Victoria, and we also have representation in the regional areas of Victoria as well too. So we talk about Bendigo, Ballarat, Geelong, Shepparton and Gippsland, as well as our Melbourne office as well too. So if you're wanting to tap into those regions, whether they're suppliers in those regions or projects in the regions, or you just want to talk about what's happening in those regions, certainly feel free to contact us, so we can put you in touch with the ICN people in those regions. And here's some of those friendly faces that you may or may not be aware of. These are the people, including the regional guys and gals, regarding what we call the industry advisors. So just putting some names to faces, should you wish to communicate going forward. So it's always helpful to know. We are looking to put together a bit of a flyer in regards to each of the backgrounds to all of our industry advisors. I think we have over 300 years of experience behind the group of people here on this slide, but it represents a lot of experience in a lot of sectors, and also in the current work we do on projects of all types regarding transportation, renewables, hospitals, roads, quarrying, tunnelling, defence, and the like as well too. So take advantage of that knowledge base as well. So just some other information in regards to, just waiting for the slide to come up. So services offered, so we do offer a range of services, and I'll just go back. Sorry, it's being a little bit slow. So services offered to buyers. To be going wrong way. So services offered to buyers include a range of areas, including consultancy services, as we talked a little bit about earlier, and then also the ICN Gateway itself, where we need to make sure that your profile is on our system to take advantage of that. Tiana will talk about some reasons why we need you on our database, which is vitally important, and then things like running communication events, including industry briefings and the newsletters and the like as well too. So there's a number of reasons why we need to have you on board, but certainly the work we do on mapping to make sure we're not overlooking your capability of what you may offer to support buyers and projects, but also gap analysis. We've done work recently in the region regarding transportation and also defence, so working with a number of companies in doing searches for capability in the Yarra Ranges region, and also for ongoing major projects, including rail and other, where we're sourcing capability out of the particularly the Eastern Metro region, which is certainly a major source of capability for some of these projects as well. So one of the classic queries always comes about, it's all about pick me. So we're there to try and help make sure that people do pick you. So that's a key area of interest for us, to make sure that we do have that ability to support you and your capability, that we can help market you using the gateway as well too, but making sure that you're getting information and alerts from ICN regarding how we can try and help you in regards to opportunities, and then also running things like workshops and the work we're doing with Yarra Ranges going forward to try and help uplift businesses as well. Just got a very slow connection here. So in regards to government policy and local content, we talk about a number of policies on the federal level. We talk about AIC. I think we're just missing a slide here, just going back. For some reason this is transitioning very slow. In regards to AIP, so Australian industry participation is certainly one of the key areas for us. Now that not only includes direct supply to some of the major projects, and typically these are the very big projects, they're typically $500 million projects and above, but it does apply to any any project, public or private, that includes $20 million of federal government funding. So the key to recognise is it can include the supply chains to these major projects. So it could be a widget manufacturer that's that ends up supplying into a major project. It becomes all important to make sure you are in our database for those projects under AIP that we do get involved in. Just waiting on the AIC. So AIC, as we had the slide up earlier, AIC applies to federal government projects in the defence space. So this is where it's very important, if you are in that space, to understand AIC, Australian Industry Capability, is there to support Australian industry in regards to defence projects. So once again, vitally important to have your data on our database and your capability on our database to make sure we are sending through information regarding some of the projects we do work in defence. And at the moment, that does include projects like the submarine program, the frigate program, and a number of defence base upgrades and infrastructure upgrades to suit with defence as well too. And that does also include the area where we're doing a lot more work in regards to working some of the international subcontractors and helping them in regards to potential joint venture opportunities with industry as well too. And at the same time, encouraging those same companies to look at investment into Australia, and that could also be under joint venture or licensing agreements with Australian entities. So local jobs first, we'll talk about this further. So Jadara will talk about this in a bit more detail, but this is the work we do here in Victoria, supporting the Local Jobs First Act. And that applies to any projects over $3 million in the metro, or $1 million in the regions, and that applies to every Victorian government agency. So once again, important to have your information and capability on our database so we can link you to some of these projects as well, but Jajar will talk about this in more detail. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Tiana, and she'll talk about the ICN Gateway, and certainly look forward to handling any questions that you may want to put forward as well too. So thank you.
Hi everyone, nice to have you all here to listen to us today. So the first slide goes into a little bit of detail about ICN Gateway and the, I guess, results you can say in the last financial year from 2018 to 2019, sorry. So as you can see, there are $30 billion worth of contracts that have been awarded to subcontractors through Gateway, and there has been 300 billion opportunities listed throughout Gateway as well. So this is looking nationally. We have 12,000 supplier searches per month, from whether they're buyers or project owners or suppliers as well. And we have 5,000 new companies registered in ICN Gateway for that financial year. So I think that's a really great result. In the last financial year, so 19 to 20, we had $400 billion worth of projects listed. So there's a bit of a jump there. And then 30 billion worth of local industry wins, which is subcontractors being awarded the work. We have 17,000 new companies registered in Victoria, and 92,000 registered suppliers over Australia and New Zealand. So you can see that the database is quite extensive. We've got the ability to look at all those companies and have them for when we go through activities, whether that's supply chain mapping or anything like that. So this might be the most important slide of mine. Why should you have a profile on ICN Gateway? Now, there's a majority of reasons, many reasons why you should have a profile on Gateway, mainly because there is a lot of activity that goes on in the background, whether that's supply chain mapping, confidential searches, recommendations, the ability to give you warm introductions to proponents, and just generally having your information and capability up on our portal allows us to access that information and forward that on need be. And also, you have the ability to submit expressions of interest on different projects. So the main reason to have a profile on Gateway is so that we can assist you, because if you're not on our database, we don't know about you particularly. So it is always very beneficial. We do have 3 levels of paid subscriptions. However, we do have a basic free package which you can do everything that you need to do on the portal. You can submit EOIs, search projects, search suppliers, get in contact with our industry advisors, get any type of assistance that you need. The paid subscriptions come into account when you want extra functionality or usability features for your profile. So with the BCN package, that's predominantly used just to put you on the public supply directory. You have to be on a subscription to be in the public directory. And the Be Compelling, I think, is quite a good package, only because you get capability statements, so you can generate them from your profile and you can use them internally or externally. And then the premium package, there's a lot of different features of the premium package, but it allows you to set security roles. If you're a large company, that's quite useful. And it also gives you a first priority listing on the public supply directory. So on the public supply directory, depending on what subscription you're on, that's what priority your company will be listed as. So Be Seen is 3rd priority, Be Compelling is 2nd, and Premium is 1st. The first, if you don't have a gateway profile already, the first step is to create the profile. You'll go through 4 steps in the wizard, which will just ask you your AVN, contact details, location, general stuff. And then when you log into your account, you're through those steps, you'll come to some further information that we'll go through in a second. However, I'll give you a few seconds to read this quote because it's quite important. So the reason that we like this quote so much is because this is something you should take into account when you're creating a profile and you're putting that information in, is what makes your business unique. What is your unique value proposition? What is going to make your company stand out against your competitors or anyone else in that industry? And that's the type of information that we do want in your profile. It can be anything. It can be innovative products. It can be local commitments. It can be social procurement. Anything that you think that your company has over everyone else. As I spoke about previously, there are 2 different databases. So we have our public supply directory, which you have to be on a subscription to be in. That is, as you can see at the top, the premium public profile. So when you've created your account, you have additional information to fill out. So this premium public profile, if you are on a subscription, you will have to fill that out, and this will be published in the public domain. So make sure there's no confidential information in there. You're happy with everything to be published. And then we have our non-public profile. So all of the information under my company and my documentation, that is all confidential. It does ask you for your annual turnover, so that's why it is confidential. The only people that are able to see this information are ICN consultants who use the database, and also any project proponent that you submit an expression of interest to. So that information is collated and it's presented to the project owner when you submit an expression of interest. So that's where the information is crucial for letting the project owners know all of your capabilities, your company summary, a description, products and services, facilities, everything like that. It is also really important that the information that you put up there is current and concise, because the information that you put in is only as good as the day that it was put in. Setting up notifications is one pretty important part of your profile. So there's 2 different ways to access the projects on our database, and one of them is setting up your notifications. So your account, you'll be able to personalize them to each user, and you'll be able to go through and select whether you want to be notified of general ICN information and updates. That's the first section. So that is any event that requires a registration. So an event like today, a industry briefing, anything like that. And then we have our major project section. So you'll go through, select the state, select capabilities you want to be notified of. When we release projects, we go through the same taxonomy, and that's what will alert you to go to your email. And then we also have regional opportunities. And this is probably going to be very important for everyone today. learning about the regional opportunities that are there. So if you are interested in that, there is the last section in the notifications to select regional opportunities. And as you can see, there's an example of a project alert. So that's what will come to your emails. And then the link will be at the title of the project, and then it'll take you directly there. So it's pretty simple. As I explained just before, there's two ways of finding opportunities. So there's the notifications, but there is also a manual way to do it. And you can go and use our public project directory, which is on the right, the white strip that says looking for work. So you can type in a key term, or you can leave it blank and it'll bring up every project. Select the state of Victoria if that's where you're looking for, any other state, and then it'll bring up your results. They'll bring up 3 different categories of results, and the first will be projects. The second will be work packages, which is a premium feature, and then the third category will be regional opportunities as well. So just take that into consideration when you're looking at the results. But you can also do a manual search for them as well. When you come to the project, you will notice on the left, the example here is that there are contact details on the project page. So these are the industry advisors details for that specific project. So we allocate an IA to every single project, and there'll be your point of contact. So you can always get in contact with them. I do recommend that if you have any questions or you want to know about the project itself or any general questions, give the IA a call and they'll be able to answer it for you. As you can see, the title is up the top as well. And then they have other information on there, whether it's the project owner, project status, location. Sometimes it'll have an estimated value on there as well. We do put up awarded packages when we can. They do come in. It is a little bit hard because it is confidential information, but we do put as much effort into doing this as we can. So when you look at a project and you scroll to the bottom of the work packages, you'll see that there are open work packages with the green tick. There will be closed work packages with the red cross, and then there'll be the trophy symbol, which is talking about awarded work packages. So even though a work package is awarded, there may still be an opportunity there, and hence why we put up their contact details. You can contact them directly and offer any of your capability to help with the project, but their details are always there. We do have full and partial scope. Now it is pretty self-explanatory, but it can confuse people at the same time. So full scope is if you have the full capability to deliver on the work package, so you have the whole capability for the scope. And then partial scope is if you only have partial capability to deliver on that work package. So it might outline one piece of work that you may not be able to fulfill. That would mean that you would have to submit for partial scope. However, we do have any opportunities work packages, which are government funded and they're generic. They are just any opportunities that will arise throughout the project. You can go and submit for full and partial scope there as well. So we talked a little bit about the project directory, but we also have this public supply directory, which you have to be on a subscription to be on. But the same kind of activity happens there. So buyers and project owners can go and search for capabilities in this directory as well. It has a heat map there. That's a new change that we just rolled out recently. So you can see where those capabilities are mapped out on there. But it also has a list of companies that will match the capability you're searching. So those details are there published in the public domain, so you're able to contact them as well. And this is another way to, I guess, match make if you don't have the full capability to deliver on one of the work packages for a project. You can use this supplier directory to, I guess, go to companies and see if they're interested in a joint venture. So understanding the EOI process is pretty simple. So when you submit an expression of interest on our database, all of your information from a profile will be collated and be sent to the project owner in a report. From there, it is up to their procurement process to shortlist and get in contact for tender. but I'll give you a few seconds just to read over this. The work packages will stay open until the close date lapse, so you have that time to be able to submit your EOI. There is a section on your profile where you can go and just check the records of the company EOIs that you've submitted in the past and just see where your EOI, where it is in the process, whether it's closed, whether it's awarded. And if you always want an update on your EOI, you're always welcome to give the industry advisor a call or also give the client services team a call. ICN Connect is a new product that we have brought out, ICN have brought out recently. So it's the same basis of ICN Gateway, where we're trying to connect SMEs, buyers and suppliers. However, this is a B2B marketplace. So we've cut out the middleman. Companies, project owners can put up their, I guess, their need or their what they have, and people will have the opportunity to respond back to them. So whether, say, you're a steel supplier, you put up your, I guess, advertisement that you have a steel and you have that capability, project owners will be able to respond back to you if they need that. So I guess it's a more of immediate response. And it is also free to use. So you can log into your ICN Gateway account and that will transfer to ICN Connect. So there's no need to create another account. There's no need to pay for anything either. So here's a little graphic that just explains it a little bit better. We'll consolidate it. So a buyer can put up that they need something, or a supplier can put up that they have something. They create the listing. Once your profile is verified, you have the opportunity to respond back and say, well, we're working on a project and we need that. And then you can go through that process. And now I will pass over to Jadara.
Thanks, Tiana. I'll be speaking to you today about local jobs first policy and social procurement framework and how they tie into ICN's local content capability program and social procurement program. So starting with local jobs first, basically the policy exists and it covers everything from schools and hospitals to manufacturing, road projects. It's about ensuring that local projects create opportunities for Victorian businesses and workers. ICN Victoria administers the policy on behalf of the government and supports the implementation of the local jobs first policy through several core activities such as our benchmarking process, which requires ICN to understand the local supply market capability. It does this by ensuring that small and medium-sized enterprises are given a full and fair opportunity to compete for both large and small government contracts, helping to create job opportunities, including for apprentices, trainees and cadets. So really the crux of it is that it aims to maximise SME engagement and local content within the supply chain. So as I said, ICN administers the local jobs first policy on behalf of the government. Local jobs first policy and our local content benchmarking is critical to the delivery of ICN's core services. It informs several core activities undertaken by ICN, as well as equipping the policy team and our industry engagement members to perform well in their core service areas. As well as for contractors delivering and or supplying into the Victorian government projects. The local jobs first projects have local content requirements that contractors in their supply chain must commit to achieving. And this is obviously seen as a value-adding exercise and will be seen as a point of difference between organisations. So it obviously applies to Victorian government projects, and it's there to promote supply chain innovation and create opportunities for locally competitive suppliers without compromising value for money. So ICN's local content capability program is the process to determine the current capability of local supply market to supply project components with local content, where local content is defined as Australian and New Zealand value added activity, as was mentioned earlier. What we really want to understand is your local capability and how we can further support adding local value So why engage with us? The ICN Local Content Capability Program is here to understand your local capability, increase local content in supply chains, facilitate opportunities for locally competitive suppliers, and help report on your achievements. So if this is anything that you're currently doing or interests you, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to work with you. Social procurement framework. So ICN, this is a kind of a new area for ICN. Myself and 2 other colleagues have recently started at the organisation after ICN has received funding to start working in the social procurement space. And basically what social procurement is when organisations use their buying power to generate social value above and beyond the value of the goods, services or construction being procured. In the Victorian government context, social value means the benefits that accrue to all Victorians when the social and sustainable outcomes of this framework are achieved. And this is applied to the procurement of all goods, services and construction from the September 2018. This framework really seeks to incentivise all suppliers and supply chains to adopt, maintain fair, inclusive and sustainable business practices. And obviously the private sector plays a vital role in providing direct employment for people from disadvantaged communities and in providing employment opportunities that are gender equitable and inclusive of people with disability. So it looks to support Victorian-based socially and financially disadvantaged communities and encourages the adoption of fair, inclusive and sustainable business practices. So why is it important? Government tenders and projects are now looking for social procurement value as a point of difference, and the value for money assessment now includes social and or sustainable considerations. So you can expect government tenders to require bidders to commit to the delivery of one or more social and sustainable outcomes. And this in turn assists in diversifying our supply chains and increasing competition and promotes socially responsible business practices. So moving on to the ICN Social Procurement Program, obviously this is a new program we've recently funded to bring up, and we're really here to help you review your strategy in social procurement, understand your social and sustainable capability, facilitate opportunities for competitive social and sustainable suppliers, and help report your achievements. So again, like the Local Content Capability Program, if this is something you're currently doing or have an interest in this area, please reach out to us and we'd love to work with you. That's all for my presentation. So back to Tiana, thank you.
Hi again, everyone. So I'm going to quickly talk about networking and your action plan. So if there's any key takeaways from today's presentation is one is to have an action plan for ICN Gateway and just for your business development. 2 is to register for notifications when you do sign up to Gateway. That is a lifesaver only because who wants to go and manually search for opportunities all the time when you can be notified of them directly to your email? Makes life a lot easier. And also the 3rd would be just that there is so much assistance that we can provide, whether it is through Gateway, it's one-on-one meetings with myself just to create that profile at the start, whether it's contacting the industry advisors to know more about projects, anything like that. There is a lot of assistance that we can provide, so give us a call. So I'll talk a little bit about networking because we all know how important networking is, and I think ICN likes to do this quite a bit as well. So we have a few main pathways of our networking and also our communication. One of them is LinkedIn. So we're quite active on LinkedIn. We have a communications and marketing team who post good stories about businesses winning work and just about the unique and innovative things that they're doing. So go and connect with us on LinkedIn and yeah, we'll share those stories. If you do have any stories that you want to share with us as well, you want to pitch them, give us an email and let us know about what's happening. Second is our industry briefings. So projects are offered the option of having an industry briefing as well. So you'll get a lot of information from there as well. And we do try to have a little bit of a networking aspect to the industry briefings. So they're quite good to go to once things open up, or we're also doing them online at the moment as well. And we also have the Victorian Prospect, which is another one that I want to highlight. It's a newsletter that we released, and the last one was released in June. It was a celebration of impressive industry responses to the first wave of COVID. So there was quite a few good stories there, one of them being 4 Pillars, who changed their capability to manufacture hand sanitizer. So that was a really good story that we highlighted in there. Our most popular edition was the Social and Sustainable Procurement, which was released last July, and it's still really widely circulated. It's got a lot of the stuff that Jadara was talking about in there. It has the framework, the Victorian framework in there. And we are due to release another one around October, but because of the circumstances and the environment at the moment, that may be put off. But there will be one coming shortly, so you can bet that you will be able to have one to read by the end of the year. And this is just a representation of what I hope everyone will do after this webinar, that they will race off and create their profiles if they don't have one, or go and update information, or get in contact with us. We do have 2 more upcoming workshops as well, which will delve a little deeper into some of the information around ICN, about what information should be in your profiles and all of that, how to connect SMEs to the projects, and just a few more tips and tricks. So they've got the dates there. One will be on Wednesday 16th and the 23rd. So if you're interested in that, reach out. And I just want to thank you all for participating today and listening to us talk. We all know it's really difficult doing everything online, so we appreciate your patience. And we will also be sending out a survey as well. So if you are able to respond back to that, we would greatly appreciate it. And there are my contact details if you would like to schedule one-on-one or have any questions about ICN Gateway. So we do have a question and answer as well. So there is a feature where you can send in questions and we will answer them. I think we'll have around 10 minutes to answer any questions that you do have. So start sending those through. Thank you.
So thank you, Tiana. Yeah, so we have received quite a number of questions, so I'll try and get through these as quick as we can too. So as far as the questions go, the first one I'll handle is one question was, as an SME, I'm not able to produce enough product for tender. Can I partner with another business and bid for a project? And will ICN connect me with another business to do so? Absolutely. That is a major role that we do undertake, and we're certainly happy to connect you to any business, whether that be supporting your business or in a joint venture or any other arrangement. That is certainly something we'd be very keen to help you with as well too. So great question. Another one is, how do I learn about defence projects and their requirements if this sector is not if I haven't been in this sector before? Yes, certainly, once again, as Tiana mentioned on her earlier slides, connecting with ICN, having a conversation with us, and we can certainly help direct you, whether that's through to supporting organisations, other government agencies that support defence as well too, because there is a lot of help out there for industry trying to break into defence and certainly build themselves in defence. So there's a number of avenues there, but once again, it all comes back to making sure you're on our database.
Just on that topic, we have published a new a capability guide on ICN Gateway as well. So when you do log into your account, you'll you can go down to the section where it has all the user guides, and there is a updated defence capability guide there.
Yeah, that's a good point, Tiana. And there's about 330 taxonomy settings for defence. So for those that haven't updated their profile in the last 12 months, that's probably something, and you're interested in defence, certainly have a look at that as a priority. Another question was, if you're forwarding my information on, do you let me know that you've done this so I can prepare for contact? Yes, Tiana, do you want to answer that in regards to the EOI process?
So your information is only forwarded on when you submit an EOI, expression of interest. So when you go to the project and you click full scope or partial scope, depending on if it's a simplified, straightforward one, you just press submit, and then you will know that that's when your information has been passed on to them, you also get an email just notifying you that you have submitted an expression of interest. So just be in mind that every time you submit an EOI, that information will be sent to them. The system is dynamic though, so if you accidentally submit an EOI and you just remember that you forgot to update something on your profile, you can go back, update it, and then it'll transfer to your EOI as well.
Thanks, Deanna. Another question was, how often are notifications sent out? So typically, if you've got, depending on how many settings you've got on your notifications, but typically you'll get an alert pretty much every morning. Early morning is, but once again, it does depend on how many settings you've got regarding industry sectors and the like as well too. So it's very dependent on that as well. Another question was, are industry advisors sector specific or client based? Then, well, we all wear multiple hats, but we do have certainly some of our industry advisors with extensive experience in certain sectors. So we do work with each of us in regards to how we can help clients. So it may be bringing another advisor in to assist on particular queries, but we're there also to help broadly as well. Most of us do have experience across a number of sectors, but that can also be brought in to be more specific around certain requirements. There was a question for the council. Are council tenders also posted on tender websites such as Australian Tenders and Estimate 1? Did Donna or Sue Jane or Kate want to handle that one?
Look, to be honest, I'm not quite sure. I know we look after them on our council's website, but I'm not sure where else they're uploaded. But we could find out if that information is necessary.
We also post a number of our tenders on the Bayswater Business Precinct website, which is a portal that's been developed for enhancing the local supply chain.
Okay, terrific, thank you. Now we've got another question. Recently, government were looking for local suppliers of PPE. Do they access the database to find them, or would I need to respond to the work package EOI before the information is sent on? We have been heavily involved, as in ICN, right across the country, involved in identification of capability on top of the work the federal government's doing as well too. So at the moment, I don't believe we've got any open work packages at the moment for the PPE side, but we're always happy to take any individual requirement or capability that resides with anybody to then present that information forward to the government agencies outside of the normal process. So if you've got anything there that you've got as a potential capability to support, we're happy to hear from you as well too. There is a couple of, I know that the government has created a number of directories in the COVID-related space around PPE and those companies that have already put themselves forward. So these directories are already developed. So if you'd like to send your information through to Tiana, we can direct you to where to obtain those, to download those directories as well.
On that note, we do have a COVID response page up which has listed all the work packages that have come out previously. The information is still up there, however they are closed. There is a document section on the projects where you can download these directories that they've created as well. So they're all there. You can just go to the Gateway project page for that.
Yeah, I'll just take, we've still got probably another 10 questions, so we might have to take some of these on notice and send some information back as well too. But I think another question of highlight was, how do I connect my business to AIC programs? What are the keywords I should be using in my profile to ensure I'm noticed? Well, certainly the most important keyword in the AIC side is mentioning defence. So defence is a keyword in your profile, is all important to make sure that, and everything you're relating to in your capability does relate to the opportunity within defence. Now, it may not be, you may not have that current capability, but it's a capability that may be brought in, but just make sure you do include wording around defence or any other sector that you're keen on when it relates to the EOI process as well too. So I think we've just got a couple more minutes, so maybe a couple more questions. There's another question for Yarra Rangers. As mentioned by Council earlier, the Council will try and include at least one Council supplier for the tendering process. How does the Council access local suppliers? Donna, Sue Jane or Kate?
So the supply, we are encouraging people to connect with BBP
and to register for these tender opportunities that are available on the website. I don't think Danielle's still on here, but as that is now a directive that they need to go out, then they will approach economic development if required. If they are struggling to find local suppliers, then they will come to the economic development department. And in that case, then we would start looking at places like BBP and where we have contacts on there. So that's why it's really important to have a profile on the BBP as well.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add to that, Andy, if we did have one of our departments looking for a local supplier that we couldn't find, we would probably refer to ICN Gateway to say we're looking for this, we have this work package and we're looking for appropriate suppliers to supply into that if they were unknown to us. So it's a little bit about registering their capability within the BBP, Bayswater Business Precinct Connect portal, but also on ICN Gateway. So the whole purpose of today is to show that collaboration with local government and ICN Gateway to say be registered in both places or as many places as possible to let people know that you have this capability and that we can access it.
Terrific, thank you. Thanks, Kate. There was a couple more questions. I'll try and get through these quickly. So there was one question saying, asking, does ICN assist in to develop my value proposition? And certainly going back to the original slide from Tiana, certainly just make an appointment with Tiana. She's happy to run you through in regards to where your profile could be improved or any assistance in regards to maybe a point of difference, identifying a point of difference of value proposition to put forward. We often do suggest that people tailor, their profile sometimes to an EOI in regards to how they may wish to present themselves to suit the particular project. So sometimes tailoring the profile to suit is something that a lot of companies do, and then it presents themselves more tailored to the opportunity and the requirement from the buyer.
Just to add to that as well, if you do want to schedule on a one-on-one, they're uniquely tailored to what your company needs. So even if you've completed your profile and you're happy with it, I can help you navigate the portal, connect you to opportunities. It's not just there to tell you what to put in your profile. It's always unique to what your company does and the capability.
All right. I think, how much time have we got? I think we've got maybe a minute, so maybe one more question. There was one quick question again, once again. As this is being recorded, how can I access the presentation post this event? As I think it was mentioned earlier, but just reminding everybody that the recording will be available, as will be a hard copy of the presentation as well too, for those that might have missed some of the information. I think one of my slides even missed in the transitional activity as well. Yeah, you do. Okay, just. So that's something to consider as well too. So with regard to maybe one other question, does ICN Connect, sorry, I might pick another one. That's probably all. I think, yeah, there's some minor questions there as well, which we'll try and cover off in a further response to questions. There's another 3 or 4 to respond to, but I think we're going to run out of time. But look, I think on behalf of ICN, once again, thank you very much to the arrangers, and thank you to everybody coming on board today. If you've got any queries at all at any stage, feel free to ring us at any time. And certainly if you want to get in touch with any of us and any of the industry advisors, ring through to Tiana and she can direct you through to the industry advisor, depending on whichever query you may have. But once again, thank you to everybody to attend today, and we'll look forward to catching up with you in the not too distant future. Sorry, my son's hungry and he's trying to get his morning tea. But apologies, but yeah, hopefully this has been an enjoyable session for you.